All right, guys. Welcome back to another day at Denver Beer and Oil. It's fall. It's starting to get a little bit cooler, and so I realized we never completed the lot tours. We only made 2 videos. I'm gonna try and get the rest of the cars in this video, so we'll go through them. But you guys seem to enjoy them, and I want you guys to know pretty much all the stuff that we have. So when I talk about things, you got a little bit of background on it. So let's start again. We left off with this row. The diesel's here now, but this is where Heidi was. And you got this old M20 car, V12 car. So let's start with the next row. This is a 1989 or 1990 BMW 535i. Actually got this car from Zach. Well, I got it from this kid that worked for Zach, Seth. But Zach still kind of owned the car. It's kind of weird. But he bought this car from the Schultz brothers, Ted and Tom, and it had 480 something thousand miles on it. And it's kind of sad that it got killed. But Seth, I don't know if you still watch, but in those days he was into killing cars, just driving them without coolant, blowing it up. He ended up locking up the M30 in this one. So the diff came out of this and it went in my Calypso wagon, which was kind of cool. It's still serving purposes. People need stuff out of it all the time. The guy with the beige 540 from Tex Fest, that wing was actually off of this car that you bought, the Racing Dynamics one, which was actually off of my Turbo 535 originally before it was put on this car. So kind of funny. Next car, we got this Saab 9.3. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I took this car on a Gambler 500. It sort of belongs to my friend Brent. I thought it belonged to somebody else as well, but we're pretty much the keepers of this car now. I would like to fix it, get it back on the road. Pretty much it needs some suspension stuff on the passenger side, and it has a cracked oil pan, but yeah. And we got a 97 528i parts car. This is actually the car that donated the engine that will be going in the Turbo E36 when I put that back together, the white one. So that engine's sitting on a stand in there. Besides that, it just sits here now. Had a ZF in it as well. It was a manual car. I actually bought this car from Glenn Shelley for 500 bucks, but it was a real Glenn Shelley car, so it came with the temp tag and everything. It was pretty funny. Now we got an E60 M5. It's a 2006. It's been pretty well parted out. I bought it with a locked up engine. I'm pointing you guys like straight at the sun, I'm sorry. We can look in, there's still a few things left. Still got the interior, all the Alcantara headliners and stuff, and it's got the steering wheel. I was thinking about moving this into my 6 Series, but I haven't done it yet. The reason I actually bought this car though was for this S85 B50. This one is locked up. I'm assuming catastrophic rod bearing failure. But if you guys remember from the last lot tour video, I have a 1991 BMW M5, a brilliant rot one, and my dream is to restore that car into like an extremely high level and run this engine with a 6-speed manual transmission. So someday, but not on a timeline. I want to do it right, and I don't have the means or the capabilities to do that right now. So they can sit. Eventually, I'd like to get this engine out of this car so it can sit inside. And I also don't really care that it has that it's locked up, and the crank's probably damaged because I planned on doing a full rebuild with a stroker kit anyway. So then we got my my 1979 Bronco. I bought this with a good friend, mentor I used to live with actually in high school, and it's pretty sentimental to me because he died about 14 years ago in a hiking accident, so probably never get rid of it. And then it actually has an engine out of my uncle, who has also passed away, his old work truck that he had when I was growing up. So it started life as a 460, and I bored and stroked it to 557 cubic inches. I don't know why I haven't finished this. It's kind of like a mental roadblock. I spent all that time to get this running, and then it ate the flex plate soon after like the week after I got it running with the new engine and stuff. So I ended up pulling the trans, putting a new flex plate on, had the transmission built so it would handle more power, and then I just never put it back together. So it needs to happen. I have 1-ton axles for it. It'll be cool. It's been sitting. I've owned this since 2003. It's been a really long time. So someday, hopefully soon. This is kind of a rare car. It's a 1990, I believe, Volkswagen Corrado, but it's a G60. So it has a supercharged 4-cylinder engine. That's pretty cool. It was a friend of a friend's, and he rear-ended somebody and killed it. And then it was put here for storage, but then he couldn't pay anymore. So then I took it, and then I started parting it out. So pretty cool car. I've never actually driven one of these, but they had like active aero and stuff, and supercharged, kind of cool. Next, this takes us to the E34 M5. This is a 1993, I believe, 525i. Yep, 1993 525i, and it's sitting on top of a 1977 K20 Chevy truck 4-wheel drive frame. It has a crate motor 350 in it, 4-speed manual transmission. I don't remember the code for that transmission. And yeah, sick. It's on 37s. It's on a 4-inch rough country lift. We took it to a Rambler event. I ran into a Durango a bunch of times. It was quite a bit of fun, but yeah, it's been sitting since. I want to get it going again. I think it would be fun to drive this around this winter a little bit, so we will see about doing that. I've kind of let it sit long enough that this tire's starting to crack, so I don't even know if this thing holds air anymore. We'll see. And these are 16.5s, so the wheels, so tires are a little bit more expensive than normal tires for it, but whatever. Next, we got another gambler car, 1993 Avalanche 2500. It's actually a Suburban 2500, but great running Chevy 350 with a 4L80, and yeah, she's a little beat up and stuff, but that's kind of how I got it. Runs and drives great. We took it hoopty crossing. We took it on a gambler that we and Andrew set up, and this thing's pretty solid. Good to have around. Here we got a 2001 740 IL. It was just a parts car. 97 M3 convertible. This thing's been super picked over. Here though, super cool car. This is the Wolf 2.0, we call it. It is a 1979 733i. It's a US market car. Believed to be a 3.2 liter M20 or M30 in it. I really like this car and want it to work. I have yet to make it work though, and it's very frustrating. This is my throttle cable. Maybe that's just cruise. Maybe throttle somewhere else and I'm just blind. It's a cool car. The paint's in fairly good shape. It looks like to have like a Boomer restoration at some point if you look at that giant Griffin radiator in it, and had a bunch of multicolored wires everywhere that we removed. The problem was we couldn't get it to run. We can't get injector pulse, so it's frustrating, and it's old enough that pretty much all the wires in the engine harness, the ignition harness, are white. Every single one is white. So I'm thinking, oh, it's also a 4-speed manual. It has super low miles at 85,000. So I'm thinking this should get an M30 B35 swap. So if you guys remember recently, I bought that white one. I think that should go in this, and I would like to do this sooner rather than later, than either drive this car and think it's cool or sell it, get it on to the next person, because it's just sitting here rotting, and it's not that cool to do that to it. Like I said, the paint is like fairly good. I remember when this car came up for sale before the guy I got it from had it, and I think I got like $7,000 for it or something. So it's definitely worth something to somebody. We got the big turbo B5 Audi A4. I would like to finish this car someday. I just don't know a whole lot about Audis. I'll figure it out and I'll get it done. I know a lot of you have commented on this car, and that video actually got quite a little bit of views when we got it running. But I will still probably end up just selling this car. It doesn't really serve a purpose at all for me, but I would like to get it running, go do, you know, a couple events with it, take it to drag strips, see what it can do, but then kick it on down the road. Since you guys last saw it, I got new wheels for it, new wheels and tires that fit it a little bit better, some 18s. This is our buddy Dane's drift car. He moved to Atlanta, wasn't ready to take it with him, so it's being stored here. An old Audi 5000 CS Quattro. I had a few of these. This one was actually given to us. I tried to give it away to you guys once, but nobody came to pick it up. So it's still here. I'll probably scrap it one of these days. We got a boat. I don't know what kind of boat it is. I was given it. It's got a Chrysler engine in it. It's not in the worst shape. The interior leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's got some seats. The motor's been winterized. Maybe someday we'll get this on the road. I got a title for it, the trailer and stuff, so we can do it. We got another Audi A4 B5. Things just come in waves. I actually ended up with 3 of these, but this one is parts car, no title, was wrecked many years ago, but it has an engine and stuff, so if I need anything for that car, I can do it. We got the old Pathfinder, who from a gambler run a while ago is definitely hurting. This side kind of took the mirror off, smashed that door in, broke that window. I've decided it's time though to start bringing it back a little bit. So I ordered a window last night. You can't get these at any like glass place anymore, but I was able to find one on eBay for like 70 bucks. I think with shipping it was like $115. So not bad at all. I'm thinking about trying to install it myself actually. So I'm gonna cut off all the glue and whatnot and try to glue a new window on, see if I can do it. But if you guys don't know, this is a 2006 Pathfinder. I bought it brand new in college. I had it ever since. We do nothing but abuse it, and it just takes care of us. We got a 2002 540i 6-speed that has seen very much better days. This came into our lives from our buddy Jacob. What's up, Jacob? And ended up getting sold to an acquaintance of ours, Luis. Well, he became an acquaintance after he bought it. Got sold to another one of our acquaintances, Brandon. And then Brandon overheated a bunch of times, blew a head gasket, and it came back to me. It might have actually had a blown head gasket when Jacob had it, because that was the reason he sold. He couldn't get to stop overheating. Either way, it's here. It has an M5 hood on it, because you only tell because it's carbon black. It had M5 mirrors. It had some decent stuff on it. It's pretty much served its purpose. The giveaway wagon, once I finally get that started, I'm not getting rid of this until I get that going, so just in case I need any black trim pieces and stuff, because this had black interior. Next up, we got a really special car. Old school E34 followers might slightly recognize this car. This was known as the 547i. I think a guy by the name of Steve Clark owned this car. It is an original HE53 car. This has an M60 with an S62 crank in it. The engine's been sleeved, so it has steel or iron sleeves in it, so it's not aluminum cylinder walled anymore. And it's a 4.7 liter M60. It's got Dynon cams. It's a pretty impressive engine. This is the engine for Heidi. That's why I don't really care about the M60 that's in it, because I want to convert to this engine. I think this is all the best of all the worlds. Instead of going S62, this is still like a period correct engine. It's got some modifications to it, but it has, you know, period correct Dynon cams. It's still an M60, it's still OBD1. And I think that would make Heidi the ultimate 540 at that point. I have dyno sheets from this car. It said it made 391 wheel horsepower. That seems like a boatload to me. I don't know if those are actually accurate. The car currently has a blown driver's side head gasket. Apparently that was a common problem with it. I think it went through 3 of those and just never really could hold them in there. So I'm gonna have to do some research and figure out how to keep head gaskets in it. But yeah, I'm gonna pull it all the way apart and start over. Like I said, it's a true HE53 car, so it has sports seats in decent shape. It's a 6-speed. I actually don't own the car anymore. I sold this car to Zach, and I'm just keeping the engine and the coilovers. Zach has a Calypso 530 that has an M60 B40 in it and a 6-speed that's kind of ratty, and he wants to move that stuff into this and then have a real HE53 car. Here we got a super OG car. This is a 1991 E34 M5. It was owned by Brent with Angry Ass, and it had an oopsie. When Brent owned this car, a lady ran a red light and he nailed her. It was 100% her fault. The way it went down, he ended up getting blamed for it. Insurance didn't cover anything. So I bought the car. It's just pretty much sat here. I've taken like the rear bumper off of it, the trans out of it, the diff out of it, and it had some Recaro seats that I sold way too cheap. I took those out of it, but besides that, it just sits here. It's nestled between, you know, shipping container and this box truck, which isn't mine. So it stays pretty much out of the sun. This actually has the black headliner and a bunch of other stuff out of my red E34 M5 when Nat Moore parted out my car and owned this car. But then I think actually he sold it to Brent after. It's a long convoluted story how everything's always connected. The plan is for this engine to come out of this car and go in the original roadkill car and then make that like a proper race car. That's what we want to do. This one, I still want to do something with it, but the frame rails are destroyed. I mean, this thing took a hit. So, like, it broke like the ears off the transmission. It hit so hard. So, glad Brent's okay from that. This was, you know, a couple of years ago at this point. When I first got it, I was kind of dumb, and I wanted to put like an S63 in it and like tube the whole front end and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But since then, as I've matured a little bit in the BMW world, I've realized kind of new BMW engines are pretty horrible. And I don't want that complication in my life. So I don't know what I would put in this car. I think it would be really cool to tube the front end, bring it back, rip all the interior out, cage whatever, put it on a frame machine to see, you know, get it as straight as possible. I don't know what it makes sense to put in this car as just a nasty, gnarly race car. So, or what to do with it even. This car was Colorado from new. I think it had 8 owners and everybody was a Colorado resident. So I don't know how many people of those are still alive, but if most of them are, it would be cool someday to take it to the track, see if we can hunt down all those people and let them all take a lap in their old car. It's got KW coilovers, which I want to take off of it, still on it, and yeah. It's just a cool old car. And I'm glad I get to be the foster parent of it for now. Next, we have my 2007 E92 335i. It looks like an M3, but it's not an M3. It just has all the M3 stuff on it. This is a big single car. I don't think it's unlocked. Not unlocked. But it has John at VI's big single kit on it. This car is almost done. I've been building this car for years. It is almost done. The port injection just came in. And that's kind of the last mechanical thing. I also have a clutch for it. I have new brakes for it because it's been sitting forever and they're super rusty. I want to get this car done. I want to see what N54 stuff is all about. We'll get there. There'll be a video talking about this soon, the things we can do or can't do with it, and we'll go from there. This is my 1993 E34 M5. It's got 18-inch Rondell 58s on it. It sits way too much. I feel bad that it's out here, but it also needs a lot of work. The roof has a good bit of rust on it. I'll show you on the other side. It's a driver quality car. It's okay to let it get a little bit raggy because it is already that way. So, but yeah, there's like a previous repair that's pretty bad right here. So it's gonna need some love. But luckily, I have a ton of other E34s to take part stuff from. But I love driving this car. Probably do some stuff with it next year. Here's a 2006 530xi. It's a piece of shit. That's all we need to know. We got a 1991 Mercedes W124. It's a 300D, and yeah, I broke it at Hoopty Cross. I broke the oil pan. I think that's pretty much all that's wrong with it. But I don't know if I want to spend $350 for an oil pan and then do the work just to get it running again. I only paid $500 for the car, so I don't really know what to do with it. This is a 2.5 RS. It's one of our friends Kayla's. If you remember her from the Rambler video, it was stolen from her and then subsequently abused and wrecked. It looks like it was a really nice car before that though, and then she got it back, and we're storing it for her now. Here you guys sometimes talk about E32 stuff. Here's my 89 750 IL. It's got a cool body kit on it. I don't actually remember. It's a fiberglass one. I'm pretty sure it's like a replica one, but I don't know. The car's got 110,000 miles on it. It's in fairly decent condition. I bought this car from our friend Ralph many years ago, and you can see the front. That bumper's pretty cool the way it's set up, but could never get it to run on more than one bank. So one time we did, and then we went and did donuts with it, and then it went right back to one bank. So I don't know. I don't want to get rid of it, but it doesn't really serve a great purpose for me, and it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't cost me anything just to leave it here either. So here's this Amola M Roadster that I found out I'm never going to get a title for, so whatever, I'm going to part it out. It's not going to get that S54. It's going to Tinky Winky will get some parts out of it, my E30 will get some parts out of it, but I am not going to try and save this car. It's a salvage title, it's heavily wrecked, it's missing very many body panels that are like the M1s, so I'll be posting it soon for parts and stuff. I already sold the wheels off it to our buddy Kylan. Gets a little packed over here. This is my buddy Cody's Bronco that we bedlined a couple years ago, and then just recently put an engine in it. Need to finish wiring that new 302 that's in it. But yeah, Cody's truck. And we got a 1985 E28. It's a 535 manual, so it has a 265 in it. I've been trying to sell and part out that car for a really long time. It has a cracked oil pan, and like cracked enough that it can't hold anything. I don't know if it runs. I assume it runs, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, I think there's people that want stuff off of it. I think I got the steering box sold and stuff. I might end up keeping the trans to do the swap into that E23, so it could have a 5-speed instead of a 4-speed. So I don't know. Next, we got a 95 E34 Touring. This belongs to our buddy James Hennessy, and he lost it in the snow one day and nailed the median. So happy he survived, but unfortunately the car did not. I've sold the engine, I've sold stuff out of it, but I'm keeping it around for parts, because E34 Tourings are hard to find parts for. So it sits back here, and for some reason it has a 391 LSD in it too, which is kind of cool. Under this cover is a 1988 E30. It's a, you guys remember when I bought this car? I bought it from our buddy Cody. Oh, you guys are all up in my face, sorry. Different Cody. This is actually the car that gave up its engine for the Stroker car. So I was originally gonna restore this car and make it wild, but I don't have the time to do that, to put that much effort into it. So I sold it for a fairly good price to our friend Angel, and now he is paying to start here until he's ready to do something with it. I think he was talking about maybe K-swapping it, so we'll make sure to keep everybody updated on how that goes. But for now, it sits. I do have another E30 that I will be building soon though, that I never went and picked it up. we filmed going to get it, but we weren't able to get it to roll, so we left it, and it's been a bunch of months, so I should probably get on that. But here we have a 1992 535i 5-speed. I got this car from this same guy, Cody, and this is the donor car for the Calypso wagon. Once we get that M30 rolling, this is where the M30 is coming from for that. So hopefully here soon we can start getting that swap going. I haven't decided how I want to do that, if I just want to drop this engine and throw it in that car and get it driving, or start right from the beginning of making it, you know, like restored and build the engines, reseal it, and do all that stuff. So I don't know if I just want to throw it in to get it going, or take our time and do it right the first time. Here we have, I believe, a 1992 525i E34 manual with a stripped interior. And this car is a swap car. It is just sitting, waiting to go into another car, but I don't have that other car yet. So it's just sitting here. Got it for like no money. It ran and drove great, but there wasn't a title, and somebody like painted it really, really poorly, like very textured. So it's gonna die, but it's gonna let something else live. Got our buddy Ryan's E91 wagon that we're storing for him. I don't know if he's gonna fix this or if this is a parts car for another car. We got another Calypso E34 that just sits here. It's pretty much exceeded its usefulness. I don't actually own this anymore. Whatever. We got my semi. It's a 1981 International. It's got a big cam 350 Cummins in it, or 350 big cam. I don't know how you say it. It's pretty cool. There, let's get in the shade a little bit. I have abandoned this idea. I'm not going to go buy the car hauler stacker trailer that goes with this. I'm going to sell this. So I am actively trying to sell the semi now. And if I want to do this later on, I'm going to buy a toter home. It's already a toter home. So after driving this from the Springs, my truck is just so much better at everything than this is, that I need it for. So this doesn't serve a purpose for me. It's cool. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to drive a big rig once, but I don't really have a desire or a need to keep this. So it's currently listed. Trying to get rid of it. I think I got it cheap enough that I can make a couple bucks, which is, you know, always good. And yeah, hope somebody else gets it and can actually enjoy it. So this might be the last time you guys see the Lizard King. Now we're over in Zach's area. Let's go over his stuff real quick. The Calypso 530 that I just talked about, that has a B40 and a 6-speed in it. His lifted Subaru GL that he took at a Gambler. A Euro E23 735 manual. E30 318 shell. A couple E21s. Another E30 4-door 325. 535i. I'm pretty sure manual E28, but doesn't have a title. Subaru RX. He's got the lifted one just like this at his shop. Another 325i 4-door E30. 328i or 528e E28. Another 528e E28. A 745i Euro E23. This one's turbocharged. That's all the 745s were. Got the Buffalo interior. It's a pretty cool car. I don't think it works, but got a glass sunroof. It's a cool car. I don't know what Zach's quite gonna do with it, but he's got it. Another E28, 528e. A really rusty E30 coupe without a title. I think it's a 325e. Another Euro E23. That one's a 735. I think also a manual. Of course, Zach's truck. We got Jerry and Jason's area. There's Jerry's M3. Actually, I think maybe Will owns it now. If you guys remember, this is the car that I bought with the turbo in it. So, pretty cool car. Had many iterations, but not currently a car anymore. Again, it's a shell. I think Will owns it. Not sure what he's gonna do with it. Back to my stuff. We got a 97 540. This is the bumper and hood and some other stuff that will end up on the giveaway wagon. Another one of Seth's old cars. This is a E23 or 323 that was B30, M54 B30 swapped and manual swapped. It was a pretty cool car. E36 coupe. Got this with a convertible that I recently got. It's just a parts car, but I actually have a use for most of it now. We got an E66 750 Li, and it's got really cool 3-piece wheels on it. Those are actually for my V12 E38. That's why I bought them, but I needed this to roll. Recently picked up a 2001 E38 without keys, without a title. So this one is gonna donate parts to a couple other cars. We got Chris Carey's row, Prelude, and then an E46 M3 that I sold him. I think he wants to like K24 swap this or something. But either way, I bought it with an S54 in it, and then it rod knocked pretty much the next week. So bummer. Joel's TI, it's M54 B30 swapped. We got an old Caddy that caught on fire. It got jaws of life because it was on fire. Sold that to Andrew. And then also Andrew's Cougar, Gambler 500 car. Kind of getting down to it. Here's my Calypso wagon. No longer has an engine. I don't know if we talked about this in an earlier lot video. I don't remember where it was parked before, but this is the one getting the M30 manual swap and stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be a cool wagon when it's done. Chevelle SS, don't know who owns that. Hellrod E36, don't know who owns that. There's Garrett's old 535, don't know if he's ever gonna come get it. Will's M3, that's a shell, I think he's gonna LS swap it. Of course, Turbo Stroker E30. Gonna make an update video on this very soon. Ham's Pathfinder. Another E34 Touring. I'm not sure who owns this at this point, but it's just like top, which is cool. Aaron's 440 car, which I think he got motivation to work on again. Let's see what else. Ooh, if you stayed this long, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a surprise. This is all Will shit and other people that Will deal with. I don't really know anything about these cars. E30 drift truck. It's got a 4-cylinder in it now. Well, let's go down here. My buddy Spencer's old car, I sold this. Jason got it back on the road. It's got an M52 B28 in it. There's my 6 Series. I haven't touched it since Grid Life. Need to do brakes on that and get it going again. 335 E90. I don't have any use for this car, but I thought I did, so I bought it like that, and then I didn't need it, so now it's just sitting there. Andrew's got some Miatas here. Andrew, you got a lot of shit here, dude. SL500 that Diego, or SL320 that Diego wrecked. An old Dynan 7. This thing was supercharged, and funny enough, I apparently follow the guy on Instagram who ended up with the supercharger out of this car. So it's always all connected. But this was a really cool car back in the day. X5, and then this was a turbo E34 that ended up parting out. But this is why I brought you guys down here. So this is I believe a 1998 1997 Alpine White M3 manual. So it is very stripped, and I mean very stripped car. So doesn't have anything left in it really. But I acquired this car with a title for free on Saturday, I think. Maybe it was Friday. Either way. So I own this car now. I don't know what to do with it, but I did not want it to get crushed. It's definitely going to be a track car. I'm not going to like fix it up and try and sell it to somebody. But if you look, the back end has never been wrecked, which is super rare on these. And the front end The frame rails are both completely straight. You go under here and it's like, wow, this is an extremely original non-wrecked car. The reason that the guy I got it from was parting it out, he bought it. I don't know if he was going to part it out or what he was going to do with it. It had some hail damage, but then a tree fell on it in a few places. So he decided it was junk. He's got enough E36s and other M cars, he didn't care. But I am just glad that it still exists. So I don't know. I was thinking maybe a V8 of some sort in an E36. I don't have one of those. So anyway, I'll leave it on that one. I guess there's a few more things. I have the school bus. That's at my house. There's a GTR in the shop. There's a GTR at my house. But those are all of our cars. So this is a super long video, I'm sure. But thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.